Hi, everyone. I'm Marcus Grimm, Chief Marketing Officer at SimWell. This is a special moment for us as we officially open our new European office based in Delft, the Netherlands. To mark the occasion, I'm joined by someone who's not only leading the expansion, but shaping the future of our business in Europe. Joost Smits is a seasoned engineering leader who's spent more than a decade driving innovation and complex systems development. Now he's bringing that same precision and ambition to simulation and decision intelligence. Joost, we are thrilled to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
You have led complex engineering teams for well more than a decade. What drew you to simulation and to SimWell specifically?
Simulation is something that I was introduced to during my studies. I studied systems engineering and I liked it very much. I was in simulation for about 12 and a half years. And for the past 3 years, I worked in an IT company in the public transportation sector.
But you missed simulation.
Exactly. I always liked it. I kept on following the industry and I was introduced to Alex and to John and Lucas and Steve, kept in touch. And we had several occasions where we just talked about life in general and business and ambition and vision. It became clear that we were very much aligned on all these things. So when John reached out to me not too long ago and asked if I wanted to lead SimWell Europe, everything came together quite nicely and at the right time in my career. So I decided to take the step and join SimWell.
You've been in and around simulation for quite a long time, but now suddenly it seems like more and more companies are sort of catching up to where you were a decade ago. And they're like, okay, we need to get a lot more serious about this if we really want to be competitive in this new economy, if you will. From your perspective, how does simulation fit into this future of operational decision making?
15 years ago, a lot of companies, they were logging data as a goal, not necessarily as a means. And sometimes it was not even the correct data. If you don't log the correct data, there's nothing you can do with it. Right? They won't tell you anything. So now, 15 years later, companies understand more and more the value of this data and what they can actually do with it.
So a decade ago, you'd go in and you'd talk to somebody about simulation, and the questions were probably, we don't have the data, or the data's not structured well. And now you've kind of gone back to those same companies, and suddenly, guess what? They have a lot of data, and they're actually ready to move towards simulation. Is that the way you're thinking about it?
Yeah, companies, they don't really mind which type of tool that you use. They have a problem, they like you to understand it, then decide on what is the best approach to solve the problem and to come to the right answer.
Joost, you're now heading up European operations for SimWell. Why Europe at this time? Why does it make sense for SimWell?
I think in general it makes total sense. I mean, if we have a lot of multinational customers that operate all over the world, they will also have subsidiaries in Europe. So in order to best support them locally, right, then you need to have a local subsidiary as well. Besides this, I think Europe might have a couple of additional challenges that maybe if you are located in Europe, you might understand a little bit better. It's a lot of countries with a lot of different cultures that, yes, we have the European Union, but still there are a lot of local differences that is good to understand when you do business here in Europe.
When you see these industries where SimWell operates, supply chain, manufacturing, warehousing, all the way up through healthcare, mining, and energy, are there any of those that when you think about Europe, you feel like that's where we're going to see the earliest momentum?
Yeah, I would say supply chain, general logistics, warehousing. If you see the news in the last couple of years, starting from the corona pandemic all the way to, let's say, the threat of a trade war and all the terrorists that are here now, they will cause additional complexity to already complicated supply chain. So they will put quite a bit of pressure on companies to understand how to best deal with this complexity. The human brain is just not able to understand all these complexities, so you need to have advanced technology such as decision intelligence.
So when we talk about decision intelligence, one of SimWell's greatest strengths is that we don't just model. Instead, we partner with organizations to help prioritize and answer their most difficult questions to help them make the biggest decisions for the greatest impact. So when you come into an organization in Europe, and you're not just a model provider or a company that crunches the numbers, but you're actually going to be helping them prioritize which decisions they should be making first. How will that mindset translate into European engagements? Is that what they're looking for?
Bottom line is you have to understand the business challenges that they face. And from that, you can think about the next steps. And it could be maybe starting with data. Maybe they need to have a digital twin. Maybe they want to have some optimizers somewhere. But Could also be that they're just looking for some answers, and maybe we already have a model that we can use where we can just supply the answers to them.
One of the exciting challenges of opening a new operation is you are leading a new team from the ground up. Let's talk about culture for a little bit. What have you seen from SimWell's culture, and what kind of culture are you building at SimWell Europe?
I want to obviously bring the SimWell culture into Europe. We can deliver the same level of quality all over the world, whether it's in Australia, India, Canada, the US, or Europe, to the same customers. So I think that is something that other companies might not be able to do because they're not the biggest in the world. What I like a lot is the focus on the customer and combining that with being happy. Work-life balance and happiness is so important nowadays. I mean, if you work 8 hours a day, that's 50% of the time that you're awake, more or less. So you got to do something that you like. Not every day is the best day in the world, but the general feeling is you got to start and you know with a good feeling and that you're happy to go to work again. If you have kids, for example, I don't think you should feel stressed when you take them to school or bring them to daycare or in any way feel that you might miss something of their lives. So let's say the fully flex approach that we have at SimWell, I think that is a real benefit.
Wonderful. Let's talk about recruiting talent. One of the things that John and Alex have been very intentional about is the deep modeling talent that we have on the team, these technical professionals with deep vertical expertise and modeling capabilities. And now, presumably, as we grow European operation, that's going to create some opportunities for you to hire that talent as well. For that talent in Europe, these technical professionals who want to work at this intersection of simulation optimization, right in the heart of decision intelligence. But why do you think those technical professionals should be paying attention to SimWell?
Well, most companies that might look similar to SimWell are, first of all, much smaller. So the career path and the options that you have are limited. SimWell is much larger, so there are more opportunities for you. I mean, people can also, if they like, travel the world. I mean, we spend so many different countries in the world. So if you want to go there, you can work from those offices, right? And besides that, you work on real life problems that actually help to make the world more efficient. And I think that is something that, to me, is really great.
Give us an example of an operational decision you've seen simulation or decision intelligence just completely transform for an organization.
We did a project for a multinational liquid bulk company. They were increasing the storage capacity for a certain product. This was going to result in longer waiting times for vessels. So what they had in mind was what they always used to do, is build a new rather expensive pipeline to a new jetty and make sure that because of this, waiting time is not, let's say, excessive. They wanted to sort of prove that this was the case. So we did a simulation study, and it actually turned out that this was not going to be the best decision for them. So by not building the pipeline, but by making another change in their terminal setup, actually there was no need to buy the pipeline, and the waiting times were much, much lower than if they would actually buy that new pipeline. So because of this, when the group operations director saw this result, he was immediately sold, and he said, for every capital investment that we do, we got to use simulation.
So sometimes the best answer is no, and you help them uncover that. What do you think people still misunderstand about decision intelligence or the role of simulation within it?
I got a feeling that people think that you need to be an engineer in order to use this type of technology. But nowadays, with all the fancy dashboards that we can deliver, or having digital twins run in the background and just telling you what to do when it's necessary, you don't need to be an engineer anymore. And every team can actually benefit from decision intelligence technology nowadays.
If you were talking to a European operations leader right now and they've heard of simulation, but they haven't quite used it yet, what's the one question you would want to ask them to kind of get that conversation started?
I would ask them, do you know how much money you actually wasted in the past by doing it the way you always used to work?
Joost, we are lucky to have you leading this chapter for SimWell. Congratulations again, and welcome officially to SimWell.
Thanks a lot. I'm looking very much forward to it.
And everyone watching, listen, if you're facing high-stakes decisions in your operations and want to explore how simulation can give you clarity, control, and speed, reach out. SimWell Europe is open for business. SimWell, it's how decisions get made.